Welcome to M202's Task 3 presentation. The aim of this presentation will be to define what a stakeholder is and outline stakeholders a project manager should consider when carrying out our chosen task, which is housing development within Manchester. The group will then suggest suitable methods of communication and interaction with these stakeholders, whilst touching on some techniques which will prioritise each stakeholder. This will then outline how important it is to have different communication with each of them. As we briefly mentioned in the previous slide, the project is to build a new social housing development in the Manchester area. There is a multiple of stakeholders, and the project manager should consider these when doing this project, which are the local council, the bank, the local residents, the contracted builders, and the end user. A stakeholder is any persons or organisation which holds an interest in the project or will be affected by the deliverables of the project. The ones mentioned here are the 5 main stakeholders we consider to be the most important. Some stakeholders will be internal to the project and others external. As we have only mentioned one internal group of stakeholders, for example the contracted builders, it is important to manage these effectively, as both internal and external have powers of interest. The power interest matrix is used to prioritise your stakeholders, and has been utilised in order to demonstrate and determine the power and influence upon the project that some stakeholders have, and therefore we will be able to categorise and then suggest suitable means of interaction and communication. As you can see, it is a 2x2 grid used to show the levels of power and the amount of interest each stakeholder has on the project. The stakeholders with high power but have low interest means project managers must keep them satisfied due to the stakeholders having the power to make decisions which may affect their project, which in our case the bank have high power due to lending the money to fund the project. However, there is a low interest due to little involvement. The project manager would communicate with the bank financing the project through face-to-face meeting with the bank and using project proposals. Project managers must keep stakeholders with a high level of power and also a high interest motivated in the project in order to keep them interested. The local council will have high level of power due to the nature of the project being council run. The council will have to review the plans and approve them. They will also have a high influence upon the project's decisions due to the meeting building regulations and legislation. This will give them a high interest in the project due to the outcome reflecting on their association. The suggested methods of communication with the council would be written communication, such as letters and emails. They need to be kept in the loop through communication updates, and this is important in order to keep these stakeholders satisfied that their decision was the right decision. The residents also have a high level of interest, as the developments could potentially affect the price of their own home, could be possible noise pollution and increased traffic in the local area. They would take an interest due to the potential employment opportunities that the project could bring. Realistically, the residents have relatively low power, as they have little authority over the council, although the option of a petition to a resident is available if they disapprove of their project. A successful petition would obviously increase their power in the project, and if the residents have alliances with the council to stop this, their power would also increase. The project would have to consider the local community when making some decisions within the project, for example, the contractor morning start times. The project team could communicate with the local community through a drop-in within a local building with explanations and discussion before the project is initiated. The project manager should keep regular updates through email or maybe a monthly newsletter in order to keep the general public involved so they know what is happening. The stakeholders who have a high level of interest but low power should be kept informed regarding the project, such as in this case the candidates eligible for social housing, as they will be the end user of the project and it would be an essential. Stakeholders which have low power and low interest, such as the builders and general public, are not particularly interested and hold no power individually. The builders' main interest would be if the project is running to schedule. So to summarise this presentation, the main points gathered outline that stakeholder management is one big loop. Project managers must define who the project stakeholders are and establish and then control their needs and wants. The project manager must monitor the communication and may even need to manipulate stakeholders in order to achieve their goals towards the final project outcome. Therefore, stakeholders are important in the project and they must not be ignored.